Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom. On today's show, Kyle Bauer visits with Jeff Seim to talk about his work with Kansas Wildlife Parks and Tourism and private land. Then enjoy this week's Kansas Soybean Update. Next, Kyle Bauer talks with Barth Crouch from the Kansas Crazing Lands Coalition about the coalition and the education it provides. Then it's this week's Kansas Farm Bureau Update, and we'll end with Plain Talk. Stay with us.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome to Farm Factor. Up first today, Kyle Bauer and Jeff Seim talk about how Kansas Wildlife Parks and Tourism work together with private landowners.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer visiting with Jeff Seim. Jeff works for it's a really long name, so I'm going to read it off your shirt, okay? I just call you Wildlife and Parks, but yeah. Kansas Department of Wildlife Parks and Tourism. He's in the Wildlife Division, and he's a wildlife biologist in southwest Kansas. Now, in northeast Kansas, a lot of times that's involved with state-managed ground, but in your area of the state, not so much.
No, that's true. As far as how the state goes, we have extremely little public land in the west. Just a handful, maybe like around Clark, which is actually a state fishing lake. But after that, it's pretty much all private owned.
So you tell us a little bit about your background, how you got to that area.
Okay, so I'm from central Nebraska originally, and then I went to Fort Hays State for schooling. And then after that, I temped for the Department of Wildlife and Parks and Ecological Services for 2 summers. And then I got on full-time there out of Dodge after that.
So dealing with private landowners, your tack and track has to be different on how you get that accomplished.
That's true, because as opposed to public land projects, if we're doing something to enhance wildlife, I can't just jump on the state tractor and go do it. I have to work through the private landowner, and it's going to be a lot at his discretion too, or their discretion, because that rancher, if they're not interested in a certain practice, then it's simply not going to happen. So it's a little bit more, as we say, sitting down at the kitchen table kind of conversations to talk things over and get a feel for what people would be interested in.
I assume those folks call you, though. They have an interest when you show up. They're wanting to accomplish something.
Yes, they do. A lot of times they'll just have a question randomly. They'll call us and say, hey, what can I plant to enhance pheasant habitat? And then when the conversation gets rolling, there's a lot more options out there and a lot more potential programs that they can take advantage of to meet those needs or those desires of theirs for the wildlife.
And when you say programs they can participate in, is there actually some dollars that are available to private landowners?
There is actually. I'll move my sunglasses. Our Habitat First program is our state program specifically for habitat improvement for wildlife. And there is cost share available there, along with some labor sharing that can go on. And it can do anything that the landowner's interested in. It can be cedar removal or forb establishment, native grass establishment, cover crops, tree hinging for covey cover, planting of trees and shrubs for covey cover, or areas for deer to bed down in. We have a worksheet that all the state public lands or private lands biologists would have, and there's 18 or 20 practices.
So I assume if people want to try to work with you, the best thing would be to either call the state office or to look at the website.
That's correct. So our state offices are spread out across the state. So in the western part of the state, Hays has an office, and then Dodge are our big offices. And if you're looking to do things in the west, those would be the 2 places to call. And then our staff there would be able to get you into contact with the biologist that would be in charge of your local area specifically.
Visiting with Jeff Seim. He's a wildlife biologist with Kansas Department of Wildlife Parks and Tourism. This is Kyle Bauer reporting. Back to you, Jamie.
Thanks, Kyle. Folks, come back after these messages for this week's Kansas Soybean Update.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
This segment is brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Soybean Update.
This is the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Todd Vogelsinger, Director of Marketing with Columbia Forest Products, joins us. And Todd, U.S. soybean growers and your company achieved a major milestone, celebrating the use of U.S. soy inside 100 million panels of Columbia Forest Products Pure Bond plywood.
We're the nation's leading producer of decorative hardwood plywood, which is what you might find in your kitchen cabinetry or furniture, maybe even your wall paneling. It's usually wood-based layered material like plywood, except with a decorative face like cherry or hickory or oak. The bonding agent that used to be used in this category was a formaldehyde glue. In the early 2000s, we began to explore options to that. How could we get out of formaldehyde in our product? And we came upon a terrific solution that is really based on 95% soy flour.
The relationship between Columbia Forest Products and the United Soybean Board, this has been a long-standing one.
I think early in the process, when it was acknowledged that we were using soy flour as our solution, the Soy Board came along and was extremely interested to support many different ways our commercialization of this technology. And lo and behold, 100 million panels later, we're still collaborating to extend the use of soy as an industrial bonding agent in our products and across the industry.
And if you're using soy flour, if you made 100 million panels plus now, that's a lot of soy flour to produce.
You do the math, and it comes down to basically 6.8 million bushels of soybeans that went into this. We've produced enough plywood to go around the earth 6+ times. And in 4x8 sheets, that's a lot of wood, a lot of soybeans.
Now, is Pure Bond plywood cost competitive in the market?
It sure is. When we converted to the soy-based formulation, we did not raise the price. Since then, we've actually grown our market share. We are the dominant plywood producer in the decorative segment in North America. We're pleased to have been able to produce this product and to share its benefit at no added cost to the consumer. We have a website that you can find your local sourcing, or you can find wholesale distributor if you're in the trade, or if you're a consumer who just wants finished goods like cabinetry, we have a directory on our website that shows them too. You can find us at cfpwood.com, or if you want to spell it out, columbiaforestproducts.com.
That is Todd Vogelsinger, Director of Marketing with Columbia Forest Products, who joins us on the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Learn more at kansassoybeans.org. For Kansas Soybeans, I'm Greg Akagi.
Hope you enjoyed this week's Kansas Soybean Update. Stay with us after the break for more with Kyle Bauer and Barth Crouch.
What if sustainability were synonymous with U.S. soy? If energy efficiency, water quality, and soil health help define U.S. soy's value, that future is here, the time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is committing to sustainability that's achievable, worthwhile, and enduring. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Imagine turning soybean oil, used cooking oils, and waste animal fats into fuel so amazing it drives U.S. jobs and our economy forward. Learn more about biodiesel at americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about employee safety and work comp coverage. On your farm, do you ask your friends to come help? Are they considered employees or neighbors helping neighbors? Did you know that you can be held responsible just as if it's a work comp accident? Give me a call, we can discuss. 316-945-6733.
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Now we learn about the Kansas Grazing Lands Coalition with Kyle Bauer and Barth Crouch.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer visiting with Barth Crouch. He is the coordinator for the Kansas Grazing Lands Coalition. Barth, tell us about the coalition and what they do.
We are an educational nonprofit that gets a lot of assistance from the National Resource Conservation Service and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And sometimes I say we launder money for them, but actually we try to educate ranchers on how to do it long term so that you'll always be there, you'll always have money to operate with, and your grasslands will endure at the best possible shape.
And of course, Kansas is tremendously varied in its grassland, so you move schools around.
Yes, we do. We try to have 2 a year in August, and we try to stick to the mixed grass and short grass country farther west, or we're in the Flint Hills with the tall grass prairie. And recently, we've been at Scott Lake doing the mixed and short grass school for about 8-9 years. I think we've saturated the ranchers that are interested out there. Because we were really pushing people, almost paying them to come. And now we're here at Ringneck Ranch in north central Kansas, more of the Smoky Hills, mixed grass country. And we're going to see if we can attract some folks here. I know we do have some students coming from the Red Hills, the Gypsum Hills down in the south central. And I think we'll see how this goes for a few years. In the past, we've been in many different places. We were at Rock Springs for a while. We were at a couple of camps in the tall grass. Now we're at Camp Wood YMCA near Elmdale. And we've been several places in western Kansas, all the way from near Great Bend to out at Scott City. So we keep moving around trying to make it easy for the ranchers to come and easy to talk about the different types of grasslands and precipitation regimes we have across the state.
Certainly having this in August, your weather conditions and your land conditions and your grass conditions vary greatly.
Oh, it's amazing. Some years, a couple of years ago in the Flint Hills, you would normally expect to see all this lush, beautiful grass. And for plant identification, which is one of the things we teach, because if you know your plants, you know what you should be doing with the land. And at that time, we had no green, nothing. It was all dried specimens. And a lot of them were from the year before when it had rained. And so people were looking at sticks for our plant ID challenge at the end of the school. We even had to hang pictures along the trail so that people could look at them and cover up the names so they wouldn't have an easy guess. But and the last 2 or 3 years, we've had amazing stuff in August. You expect 100. And the last 3 years, we've maybe had 90 at any of the schools. And it rains like this time. It rained half an inch last night, and it rained 3 inches a couple of weeks ago. So it looks great here. And some of the folks coming here are going, it's going to be green. And they're shocked to see green in August.
Well, I am as well. Really quickly, for folks that haven't attended your schools but want to know more about the coalition, what's the best way for them to get in contact?
Well, there's 2 ways that are easy. If you're at all friendly with your computer or your phone, we have a Facebook page that tries to keep up, and we push it a lot on that. And it's just Kansas Crazing Lands Coalition. And then there's another one out there we couldn't fix. That don't go to that one. But Kansas Grazing Lands Coalition is what will get you the one that's current and working. And then our website is kglc.org, and everything's on there that you need to know.
We're visiting with Barth Crouch. He is a coordinator for the Kansas Grazing Lands Coalition. This is Kyle Bauer reporting.
Thanks, Kyle. Come back after the break for this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
Earlier in my life, I rode bucking horses in rodeos, and my shoulders took such a beating, and that was probably the reason for having several previous surgeries on both shoulders. About a year ago, I decided that I didn't want to have another surgery, and so I contacted Kansas Regenerative Medicine, took their treatment process. It was relatively pain-free. Now, after 8 months, my shoulders have healed to the point where I think I'm probably 90 to 95% of normal. It takes a couple of months to start to see results and feel real progress. That continued to increase gradually until now at approximately 8 months. And I'm extremely pleased. I've got full range of motion. I can lift weights, I can throw, I can do a lot of things that I couldn't do without a lot of pain previously. So I'm tickled to death with the results, and I'd recommend this process to anyone.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Farm Bureau Update.
We had some questions about a topic that was changed or updated, I guess, during the last legislative session. So tell us what the topic is and give us some of the background, if you wouldn't mind.
Absolutely. Thanks, Megan. Like she said, we've had a lot of questions, and we've been sharing information and updated people throughout the session about a bill that came up relating to ATV and UTV use on roadways. And current statute didn't allow for this up until this last session. So a bill came up, and in its final form, it was Senate Bill 63, and it was passed and signed for the governor. And what it did is it allows for the use of ATVs and UTVs on state and federal highways, but there's a couple specific restrictions. First and foremost, it has to be for agricultural purposes, and it allows for two things. These producers, these operators, to use their ATV or their UTV first to cross a state or federal highway, and also it specifically states that an ATV or UTV can be used to go down a state or federal highway, but there are a couple very specific restrictions with that. The first of those restrictions is that the operator of this ATV or UTV must be a licensed driver, and they must be operating under the restrictions of their license. Secondly, that state or federal highway must have a posted speed limit of 65 miles per hour or less. And then third, this ATV or UTV must be operated as far to the right of the roadway as practicable, unless the operator is making or is preparing to make a left turn. So hopefully that provides just a little bit of clarification on what this bill, now current statute, actually allows for. It doesn't just open it up for any use of ATV or UTVs on the highways. It is very specific to agricultural purposes, and then those operators must be operating within those restrictions.
Stay with us. We'll be back after the break with Plain Talk.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways. Of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about umbrella coverage. Did you know that if your cattle get out, you could be held liable for that? Call me. Let's have a discussion. 316-945-6733.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but yet we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we'll be glad to answer it and work with you.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Welcome back. Now let's see what Kyle and Duane are up to today on Plain Talk.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer with Plain Talk, with the man that understands that when you move, the first thing you should set up is your bed, because by the time the day gets done, you're going to need it badly. Duane Toews.
You know, thinking about that, it seems like the big furniture, the times we have moved, the big furniture always went last.
Okay.
But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because the beds were included in the big furniture.
Okay.
And so you put it together when you carried it into the house.
See, I would have done it. I've only moved once in my life.
Yeah, you're not exactly a traveler.
But I would do it exactly the opposite. I'd move the big stuff first, so you got stuff you place to stack all the little stuff, and the little stuff isn't in the way.
And the boxes aren't in the way.
When I moved last time, we made one trip. We moved 6 miles.
I was there.
Were you there?
Yeah,
okay.
I was part of the crew.
Was there 20 guys?
Roughly.
Yeah, 20
like
guys.
3 trailers.
3 trailers, one big flatbed trailer, implement trailer, or no, it was a bulldozer trailer, I think.
Okay. I don't remember what it was. It was big.
Yeah, and we just took one trip, got it there, and nobody hurt themselves. I don't think so. I mean, nobody.
I don't think anybody overworked, because there was enough people, which is kind of key.
That is a huge deal, getting enough people. And I will tell you, the guy that I'm the most thankful for is the guy that came late. And he said, "What can I do?" And I said, "Would you mind hooking up the washer and the dryer?" And he said, "No, great." And he's the guy I'm most thankful for, because that's the job I hate the most. So when Blake moved last time, I said, "Okay, as long as I don't have to hook up the washer and dryer." And you know what I had to do?
Hook up.
Washer and dryer, yeah.
Little trick that I've gotten wiser with over the years, anytime we've moved a washer and dryer, it's I've sent someone to the hardware store to pick up new hoses and the flex vent, and I don't even take the old ones out of where we left, or if I do, they go in the dumpster.
Start with new ones.
So you start with new ones, and you don't have to worry about whether the threads are good or not. And you know, I've never had one blow up, but I've heard if you have a washer line develop a major leak and you happen to be on vacation, you can fill your house with water.
And you're exactly right. What do those new hoses cost? $15 total?
For the good ones.
For the whole total, to buy the whole thing. And you're right. Just do that. You don't have to worry about it. And, throw that away. That's a great idea. Well, in fact, I wonder if I did that when we moved 15 years ago.
Well, if they've lasted 15 years and you haven't had a leak yet, I suspect you probably did.
Yeah. I'm not really sure, though. I know we've gotten a new washer and dryer since then, so maybe that took.
Maybe the installer guy took care of that for you?
Yeah.
Or was that you?
No. No. When we buy new ones, it's like,
it comes with the installer.
Comes installed.
Your fact or fiction question of the day, Kyle Bauer. Canned sardines are actually herring. Fact or fiction?
I think that's probably true.
It is true.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a sardine eater.
Yeah.
And they look like little herrings laying side by side.
That process of canning was actually developed in Sardinia,
Italy.
I don't know where.
Okay,
I'm assuming somewhere around there. Sardinia was the town, so therefore
herrings
they became
have huge amounts of bones in them.
Yeah,
but when you can them,
the
it
bones
dissolves.
the
bones
so
all dissolve, and so that's why most of the time when you have pickled herring or sardines, they are after they've been canned, because you can't really eat them otherwise.
I really can't eat them because of the smell. It really didn't have anything to do with the little tiny bones.
Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. See you next week on Farm Factor.
Positioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com.